Alright, chapter 17 of Revenge of the Sith, and, I was happy. I was liking how I was going. Thought some things were good. There's some issues. But then there's one thing, and it's like, nope, hate it now. Absolutely hate it. Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to that. It's near the end, so anyway. Yes, starting with the poem. At least I assume it's a Sith poem. It's stupid, but it does kind of annoy me. Because it's talking about the dark is generous and is patient and always wins. Always wins because it's everywhere, a little bit more than the brightest light casts the darkest shadow. Ever been outside on a cloudy day? Very bright. I mean, the sun is very, very bright. But with the clouds, we get soft light, so there's not really any shadows. Still very bright. No shadows. Just saying that certain aspects of the Sith poems, and I know it's like, oh, well, you're not supposed to take it literally. Well, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, they are half-truths, and sometimes taking them literally is a way to help expose that. Or at least just start exposing that to see their issues. Anyhow. So yeah, we got... Hang on just a second. Perfect. I just didn't want it open on my lap at the moment. So... The Masters are going to go and confront Palpatine, leaving Anakin behind. One thing I find interesting about this is none of them meditate. None of them seem to take the time to meditate on this, which I get the whole we need to go kill him now kind of thing, or at least arrest him, but yeah, I get that. But at the same time, this is the Master Sith. Okay, this is Darth Sidious. Very powerful. And there also could be that pause of, wait, he told Anakin and let Anakin go. He knows we're coming. This is we need to calm ourselves down. We need to make sure that we are right, as in rightly aligned. Not that we are doing the right thing, but that everything is aligned. That we are aligned, we're in control, we're going to be able to do this. Having that moment would make absolute sense, and it could take just a moment, or maybe a few moments, but still, it's not unreasonable. Plus, there is the whole, if you do just stop and think about the whole, wait, he let Anakin go to tell us. He knows we're coming. It's a trap. How do we manipulate that to our advantage? It might be something like, he expects us to come. So let's not. Let's wait. Hang on. Need to pause for just a moment, because I need to kind of sort of dig something out. I'll explain why when I get it. Samurai Trilogy. Musashi Miyamoto, Duel at Ichijoji Temple, and Duel at Ganryu Island. Good movies, I do recommend them. But Musashi is a real person. And I don't remember the actual number to it, but he is one of the people in Japanese culture referred to as a sword saint. I think he had it was at least over 50. It was like 56 or 66, I don't remember. He had that many duels, which these were one-on-one to the death, and he won all of them. Okay? Like the next closest is like down in the 30s or something. It's insane how skilled he was. But one thing that he did that is talked about in one of the special features on these discs is for a number of duels, he would actually show up late. And this was part of mind games, because, I mean, you know it's a duel to the death against somebody who is tremendously skilled. Regardless of it being Musashi or not, it's still, when you would have samurai duels, you need the mental preparation. So by him coming late, he's already throwing them off. He's getting them frustrated with him and things like that. Although not the duel at Ichijoji Temple, amusingly. Which, the movie has it wrong. Like, the timeline of events is wrong, but and I think it's in one of the special features where it explains how it actually went. It's like, this dude is really freakish with how good he is. I mean, it's like, Sword Saint makes perfect sense for a term for him. Because it's literally, the duel was supposed to be like one-on-one. Instead, it was an entire school of people that were waiting to ambush him and kill him, and they were expecting him to be late. He actually came early. And so that threw them off, and he still beat all of them. I mean, it's nuts. But still, my point being, preparation is important. So if they had thought about it that this is a trap, we're not going to play it on his terms. We're going to do it our way. That would have thrown off Palpatine potentially. Now, technically, as I said in one of the previous videos, at this point of his plan, of Palpatine's plan, it's a things rely on me kind of thing. That, as far as the Jedi coming and attacking him, he just needs to rely on his own ability to defeat them. Which I'll get to how he's got that ability. Which is either, I think I'm comfortable with saying it is his ability, not bad writing. Okay, but it's like that's a stage that he's at. So technically, he doesn't need to be upset. But it still is. The Jedi could wait. The Jedi could wait until it is day. Could also decide, you know what? We're not even going to go to him. We're going to go straight to the Senate. We're going to go straight to the Senate. Have Anakin step forward and tell everything about how Palpatine has admitted to this. That Palpatine, I mean, even just Palpatine said he would offer me anything. And I asked him, could I have Corellia? And he said yes. Would you like the whole system? Because there would be Corellians there. They'd be like, wait, what? What did he say? Even if they were on Palpatine's side, might now be a, wait a minute, no. We're not okay with this. So you could do things like that. Okay, and it is one of those, if you just stopped and reflected, stopped and meditated, you may start realizing that, no, we're going into a trap. Don't want to do that. Just saying that, those legitimately are very good movies. I do recommend them. In case anyone is uncertain, at least that copy, I don't even know if the Criterion said, I don't even know if they have English options. Yeah, no, it's just English subtitles. But very good. And, I'm blanking on his name. Toshiro Mifune, that's it. He was also in Seven Samurai. Probably more people know that than this, but he plays, Musashi in those three movies, and yeah, it's very good, and he does an excellent job. Anyway, but yeah, it is just the whole, if the Jedi had reflected, I think that they could have made sure things played out differently. They also could have been like reporting to the Senate at the same time as they're going to arrest him, but arrest with other people, so it's not just the Jedi. Because one thing that, and is that the next? No, it's a little bit later. Palpatine turns on a recorder, so he has an audio recording of things. And he basically just lies into it, so it's half the conversation, and you obviously don't see him then using his lightsaber, because it's only audio. But it is still the whole, he is manipulating things. That's why if the Jedi had paused, they may have been able to change things. Or even if they were like, you know what? Grievous is dead. We're actually not going to worry about Sidious at the moment. Let him stay there. The war is over. Go and report that to the Senate. I mean, just if you think about that alone, they walk in there. The Jedi can't strut, but imagine they strut into the Senate and say, Grievous has been killed by Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. So what they're saying is factually true, but it's also kind of a statement of, we killed him, we ended the war. And you can do that and then start talking about how this is a great day for the Republic, the war is over, the threat is over, and just start talking suggestively about ending the emergency powers. Yes, these are more political, the Jedi aren't necessarily political, but these are political solutions. Palpatine is now in a weakened position, because now everyone has reason to like the Jedi, not him. So again, it's one of those, if you stop and reflect, consider it for them. If they reflected on this, they may realize, if we go now, we're playing it on his terms, and they should not be. And it is legitimately, because it's an easy lie to punch a hole through, but Anakin isn't doing that. When he's saying that, yes, we must come, Anakin, join me as a Sith, so that we can save the Republic. It's like, dude, the Republic's dead. You killed it. What are you talking about? Anakin should be well aware of this. That, no, this is going to be Empire. But, anyhow. So, I was getting ahead. So, coming back, they haven't yet arrived to do battle, or they are at the same time. Anakin is left in the council chambers, And what's interesting, it describes how he is not sensing the ancient Jedi Masters who had been there, and that normally you can. Which, I'm not entirely sure how to interpret that. It might just be that he is so in such internal turmoil that he can't sense them. That's what's blocking it. Or that he's already enough touched by the dark side that they are cut off from him. I could see it being either. I think I'd rather it be the former. That is just he's in such turmoil that he cannot connect with them. But it does describe one thing that is neat. Hang on, I just want to... Okay. His love for Padme and his force powers combined to basically let his hand reach out and find her in the apartment and like touch her and start caressing her face, running fingers through the hair, things like that. And it's actually a really neat moment. I really like it, and is one of those things where you're just thinking about the movie, and because it's been a while since I've watched it, but I feel like this scene actually would have been really, really good if you just had him like pacing around the council chambers and then just stopping, closing his eyes, like bringing down, and then just like, so you can tell he's focused on her, and then you see her lying in the bed there asleep, and then like his hand just coming out, and maybe it's a little ghostly, but coming out and starting to caress, to do all that. And you know, the sense, because it also talks about how he can feel her heartbeat and her thoughts, her feelings, all that. Do that, and then like snap back to where it's like with him reaching out his hands. It would have been a really awesome and powerful moment in the movie. I don't believe it's in there. I could be wrong. Could be wrong in that, but it's a really powerful moment in the story, at least. And it also would explain he's going to save Palpatine's life because he sees that as the way of saving hers. So it would explain why he's going beyond, because I don't remember there being an explanation really in the movie beyond just, because it could also just be, no, he wants to protect Palpatine because Palpatine is his friend, want him arrested, not killed, things like that. But it still is, the way it's described in there, as I was saying, for the most part, I like the chapter, but then there's one thing when, no, I have to hate the chapter now because this is wrong. Okay, this is not what should be happening here. Anyhow. But that was a good scene. I like that, and I think that we could make more of that. One issue, though, because he's so focused on I must save Palpatine so I can get the knowledge to save Padme, there was no acknowledgement of, like, the day or two before, when he was meditating at the temple, that sense that the power necessary is within him. There's no mention of that. So it's like, okay, why did you even have that happen to him then? Why did you have that sense given to him during that meditation? Cut all that out, because it makes no impact. It has no impact. Why is it that? I would say that is a legitimate problem. It doesn't serve the story, it doesn't serve the character. Because right now, it could be, instead, him brooding on, I can try to find it myself. I can work with the Jedi to find it, or he says he has the knowledge and he will give it to me. Like the whole certainty versus uncertainty there. That certainty with evil versus uncertainty with good. That would be a much more interesting temptation to have for him than just, I want to save my wife's life. That's not even a temptation. That's more of a, well, yeah, you're supposed to try to do that. So, I'm true, it is I have to save an evil dude's life to do that, but it's also one of those things where, so I will think, I don't know if I've talked about this in prior videos. Doesn't matter. I'll probably talk about it again as well. I will think about with my characters, putting them in different scenarios, like what would happen if Sam from Failure and Children of Many Gifts was in Star Wars, things like that. But for this, I'm thinking more Avengers Endgame. At the beginning, when Thor beheads Thanos, and just, what did you do? Went for the head, that scene. Sam, because of his outlook of things, and even if he, like, were in the MCU, all that stuff up through that, and so knew them, was even friends with Thor, his reaction to that would have been to stop Thor's blade, Thor's axe, Stormbreaker, and potentially kill Thor immediately, just because of no. Thanos is not a threat anymore. You cannot kill him. He must be protected. So there is that element of, Anakin wanting to protect Palpatine from being murdered, as opposed to just killed in a fight, is legitimate. And that is still a good guy kind of thing. Thor was a bad guy when he murdered Thanos there. Just everyone let him walk away from it. Sam wouldn't. Sam also, though, is comfortable at that point, certainly. I mean, if we go with end of, well, even just within, but end of The Children of Many Gifts, more so than failure, to him murdering someone, he doesn't actually care one way or the other. It's more just, if he makes the decision that somebody should die, then he will kill them. Or if the decision that you've made yourself his enemy, then it's like, okay, I can kill you now. I mean, it's not completely a good guy. Those assigned reading videos are going to be fun when we get to them. Too bad it'll be a while. But, yeah, so it's like, it's just the whole, that's why I think if you made it more certainty with evil or uncertainty with good would have been a better argument for him to have in his mind and in his heart. Okay, so we find out Palpatine did not have the lightsaber, and like in the movie, it's just like in his sleeve, and he just does the whole hidden blade kind of thing to pull it out. In the book, instead, it's actually hidden in a statue, and it's been there for decades, and he uses the Force to turn it on so that it just melts its way out. Then when it comes out, he puts it in the sleeve. It's actually kind of neat, especially because it does also show how he has been playing this for so long. Yes, I have significant problems with the whole multi-decade. It does even say it's been there for decades. I do have issues with it. Son of a bitch, I just realized that. It can't have been... Yep. Yeah. It cannot have been in there that long. How did he train Maul? No, seriously, how could he have trained Darth Maul without a lightsaber? Darth Maul had to be a lightsaber master. He could have only been trained in that by Sidious, who would have been trained by Plagueis. So, and it does say decades, as I recall. I'm pretty sure it does say decades. Because if... Okay, yeah, earlier than that. It's a relatively long chapter, but... I mean, not as long as the previous one was like 40 or something. Okay. Hopefully I can spot it. Yes. Waiting in absolute darkness, darkness beyond darkness, for decades. Which that implies to me, more than 20. It's only been 13 years since The Phantom Menace. So that wouldn't quite be decades, that would be for a decade or so. So yeah, that is a problem. How would he have trained him? Okay. Wow. Did not think that. It is described as being a super dense material, like neutronium or something like that. It even says that in like a few millimeters of that, sensors can't get through. You can do a gravitational analysis to pick it up. I got issues with super dense materials. That's in a different video. So it's like, this is kind of... It's a science fiction trope, though, so I have to give it a little slack there. But it is definitely it's kind of not something I like in science fiction. It's there. I can't do anything about it. People keep using it, but yeah. But one thing that I had to write out is, who the hell made this thing? I mean, when you think about it, it's like, okay, this is a very special material to work with, it being so dense. Did Palpatine make it and just hid his lightsaber? Had a compartment in there, put the lightsaber in. There can't be a seam there, which would imply it's welded in. So you're welding in this super dense material, which normally you would expect to take a great deal of heat to achieve, which would then mean, how do you not burn the lightsaber as well? I mean, yeah, that could work. Well, it depends on if the heat doesn't flow easily through it. Then if the channel is actually very long, you could just use the Force to hold the lightsaber up really high and then seal in the end, so by the time that cools, it'll slide down and be safe. Could do that. But then that does require Palpatine has to have done it, as opposed to a craftsman who knows this material. Because also, this would, because of it being super dense, potentially it may also start drooping over time, which could be a problem. If it doesn't have enough internal strength to hold it up. But anyway. But still, is there potentially a craftsman out there that knew about this, or just did he kill him? Did Palpatine kill him? I mean, it's sort of the safe in For a Few Dollars More, which is a good movie. I only have good. Well, no, I have one exception to that, but by and large, I only have good movies in my collection. That one's not as easy to pull out, though. It's in a stack. Now getting to the fight. Palpatine's a lot more impressive in the book than in the movie. Because in the movie, he leaps and does that spinning strike thing, whereas in this, it actually sounded like at first. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find it. It sounded like at first he actually threw the lightsaber and just beheaded one of the Jedi Masters before it could even react. I mean, it was... okay. Okay. Yeah. Tin, the Jedi Master, frowned and cocked his head. His blade dipped. A smear of red flashing darkness hurtled from behind the desk. His head bounced when it hit the floor. Smoke curled from the neck and from the twin stumps of the horns severed just below the chin. Yeah, and a thin sigh escaped from its trachea as it folded to the floor. And then another guy gets killed where basically lightsabers through his head. But it's just the whole... A smear of red flashing darkness hurtled from behind the desk. When I first read that, it is like maybe he only threw it. But then he is also like standing at the entranceway, which it could be. He threw it to kill one dude, leapt forward, grabbed it, and then killed the other. But it still is... That's a hell of a lot more impressive, because you have 4 Jedi Masters here. They would have already had their lightsabers ignited, but it still is. 2 of them were basically caught unawares by this guy, by Sidious, by Palpatine. That's really, really impressive. That's a lot more impressive than in the movie, at least in my opinion. And then they get to fighting, and I like the fight in this better. Now, there is the issue of why, and this is one thing I was saying, that it's either bad writing or there is an explanation that I would be perfectly happy with the explanation not it being bad writing, which is how can the Jedi be caught unawares like this? And remember, Obi-Wan has been described that Grievous can move so fast you can't even see his movement, but Obi-Wan, because of the Force, is able to react in time. Technically, Mace Windu as well, because he had fought Grievous and not died. Yet Palpatine, who should not have as fast of reactions, as fast of movements as Grievous, they again are not able to react. But they are all Jedi Masters and Sword Masters. So why are they not able to react? It's either bad writing, that's like, oh yeah, I forgot that they're all, well, no. 2 of them in the room are human, Mace Windu and Palpatine. The other 3 are potentially aliens, but it's reasonable that they should be able to react with their Jedi reflexes and all that. Or, that one thing that I thought I'd seen associated with the Phantom Menace, but I'm not sure where I would have learned it, the whole Maul was using the Force to suppress the precognition abilities that Jedi use when wielding a lightsaber. And that's part of the reason it was more stressful for Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon to fight him, because you typically need that precognition so you don't accidentally cut yourself. You know where your blade is going to go. But Maul was suppressing it. Palpatine, if we just go with he is doing the same thing, he is suppressing their ability to see what he is doing, would make sense. And there's also, like at the beginning, when preparing for the fight, yes, Obi-Wan was preparing for the fight with Dooku, and Dooku did as well, and described how Obi-Wan appeared like transparent light within the Force. And then also when he was on the bridge, Obi-Wan was on the bridge, how he connected so strongly with the Force there. So all of these masters should be doing the same as well. So why aren't they? You do have problems there. unless it is just no, Palpatine is disrupting that ability. Then it makes more sense. But it is still, we basically are having inconsistencies here, power scaling inconsistencies, and that does get technical, but it is very legitimate. It is a very legitimate criticism. And I might have some stuff wrong in my books that are on a shelf over there. That's why I point in that direction. Maybe I'll find them when I am reading through and not just going by what I remember. Well, because when I read my stuff, I do remember writing it. I may start being a little biased there. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be a while. It legitimately will be a while before I get to those. Yeah. Now, when we get to just Mace Windu and Palpatine fighting, that is actually, I like it so much better than the movie. It is far more intense. It is moving about the office. And it also, so one of the criticisms I had for the fight earlier with Dooku, Obi-Wan, and Anakin, I need to get a drink of water. Ah, that's better. One of the criticisms I had was it was just like name dropping their different fighting styles, but we weren't really given context to them. But with this, we are given the name of Mace's fighting style, the reason why it's called what it is, and also what it allows him to do. So we're actually given a full explanation and context there, such that I actually do like it. And it's I don't remember if I mentioned it previously, but basically his weakness, Mace's weakness, I know I talked about the whole how he was talking up Obi-Wan's sword skills. Mace's weakness is he has some darkness within him. He has anger, he has fear, he has all that. So he has to be constantly rejecting that to not be a Sith kind of thing, right? So Mace's fighting style actually uses that, where he pours that into his attacks, but it's also any evil coming towards him, he acts as a conduit for. Instead of letting it touch him, he turns it back. So he is basically perfect for fighting against a Sith Lord like Palpatine, because Palpatine's own aggression towards him feeds him to respond back. It's like, so getting that explanation, it makes perfect sense, and it's actually fairly well done. I do like it. It is also interesting how it talks, when Anakin gets there, is looking at them, how basically the lightsabers are almost irrelevant. They're both just force entities going at each other, and because of Mace's skill there, Mace's sword style, there we go, he's able to hold off Palpatine. But it is also interesting because he starts looking into the future with his own gift, the Shadow Point thing, to see, okay, what is it that will lead to Palpatine's downfall? So he actually disengages to cut open a window, which Palpatine does try to take advantage of, but fails to. He's able to react to that, go back to the fight, because what he recognizes, and then this gets explained, I really do like the construction of this fight, I really do. The reason why I opened up the window is because he saw Palpatine has fear. Mace doesn't. He doesn't even feel the darkness in him anymore, and he explains that as well. That he had an account where he had to go so far with his skill, he had to go so deeply into that darkness within him, so deeply, and call so much of it out, that he came to recognize it, and he lost his fear of it. And because that fear is what was feeding it as well. So with the fear gone, now that darkness is still there, but it's much diminished for him. I would use the term calmer, though it's not what's used in the book. But no, legitimately, it's still there, but it's calmed now. That's how I would put it, including in the writing. So that is part of the reason why, again, he is perfect, the perfect one to fight Palpatine or any Sith Lord. So he also has no fear of death. So the battle going out to the balcony, he's perfectly comfortable with. It doesn't matter that it's a half-kilometer down and it's raining, so he might slip and fall. It doesn't matter. He's okay with death. Palpatine isn't. So Palpatine hesitates. Instead of using the Force to assist in his movements, assist in his attacks, he's using it to hold on to the building. And that gives Mace the opportunity to slash down and cut his lightsaber in half. So now we get to, I mean, there are problems here with, two things. Mace makes two mistakes. There we go. One is right at this moment, which is he should have just immediately then killed Palpatine. That, disarmed, but still a Force Master. Kill him right away. Done. That's what he should have done. Instead, he did that, and then is like, you're under arrest. It's like, we're at the point where that doesn't actually count. And there is the whole, as I said, he's a Force Master. And he just killed some people so effortlessly. Yeah, with the lightsaber, but he would have been using the Force there. He's been using the Force against you as well. Just it's kind of legitimate. Yeah. But he pauses. And this isn't like with Anakin, how I was saying before, that by Anakin not immediately killing Palpatine, that means Palpatine has won. There's still a possibility for Palpatine to lose here. But Mace should have immediately struck. Should not have allowed any opportunity to pass. This is then where Anakin is watching, and Palpatine is now using the lightning that... It's not even just... And this is actually fairly and very interesting. That it is very interesting. Oh, then what does that mean for these other things? But also fairly interesting to say, oh, it's interesting how that actually works. Mace isn't just using his lightsaber to stop the lightning. It's actually part of his fighting style, the whole taking the energy in and using and being a conduit to have it exit then and turn back. That's also part of it. So his holding back the lightning with the lightsaber is not just, I'm blocking you, but it's actually using his own force strength, and so is exhausting him. And so when Palpatine and he are still struggling there, Anakin is watching, it's like, this is still a fight to the death still between them. Palpatine could still overpower Mace and kill him here. But then, of course, we get to the second failure of Mace, the second thing he did not consider, which is he had looked at the shadow point for the threads for Palpatine to figure out, okay, where is that line that goes to his defeat? That's why he busted open the window. When Anakin came in, though, he didn't look to see what it was for Anakin, so he didn't realize that how Anakin was connected to this as well. So, when he is like, he must be killed, and Anakin jumps in to protect Palpatine's life, not to join him, but protect his life, Mace realized, well, as he's falling to his death, he had forgotten about that. He had not thought of that. Oh, and by the way, we also get an explanation tied to this moment for why Palpatine's face is disfigured. It is not just, from using the dark side of the Force, which I know I'd heard as an explanation before. No, in this it's explained as the Force lightning going back into his face is actually destroying the muscles, so it's slumping down from that. But also a little later it describes that or at least as the appearance... No, it does say the bone melted as well. The bones of his skull melted, and so has that new shape. Which is also kind of insane, because if you... Well, okay. No, that's fair. I was just about to say, you'd think if a bone is that hot, then you'd think it would kill you, especially in your skull. But it's been a while since I saw anything, but I actually, on a forum... Well, there was a forum member whose brother or brother-in-law, a relative of his, is actually one of the people who had received at that time, like there had only been five people in the world. His brother was one of them to get a face transplant. And the story for that, yeah. He, car accident, raining, power line on the ground. And it was, the electricity was going in his leg and out of his face, such that when the ambulance got there, his skull was glowing beneath his skin. And the dude's alive. The dude, he lived. And also part of the story that they find kind of ironic is that they needed to defibrillate him on the way back to in the ambulance on their way to the hospital. So it's like, apparently he needed a little bit more electricity. So, no, you can actually survive. But true, that's just glowing, not melted. I'm not even sure if bone can melt. I would think it would just shatter before that, or ignite, combust, and turn to ash, but whatever. Still, that is what causes the disfigurement, not just using the dark side of the Force. Okay, now we get to the whole, and this is important because I hate this in the movie. I hate it in the movie. It's better in the book until it gets to the point where, no, I hate it because this is not right. But I hate in the movie. Mace Windu's just gone out the window. Palpatine stands up, and Anakin's just kneeling down, ready to become a Sith. I hate that because it's like you literally went from no, we cannot kill him. That's wrong. I don't remember if he actually does have the line of I need him alive. Don't quite remember that and that does in part confuse Mace, but he still is attacking. Where it's like, why'd you say you need to save Padme? Oh, I'm dead now. I mean, it's anyhow. So in this, Palpatine gets up, and Anakin isn't necessarily like attacking him or anything like that, but I'm not here. I didn't come to join you. I came to save your life, so I can save Padme. I mean, basically, you're still a bad guy. We are not friends. We're potentially enemies, but I have a use for you. So that's why you're alive. You have that, and then Palpatine has to go and convince him, has to sway him. And mainly he does it by two things. One is a false choice of, it's Padme that will live, or the Jedi Order, because, you have to go and kill them all. Which, to Anakin, it's like, that's an easy choice. And to be fair, the abstract idea of killing a bunch of people to save your wife, there's plenty of men that the abstract idea would be okay with that. The actual execution of it, there's probably plenty of men that'd be like, no, I can't do this. And I'd also like to believe that plenty of those wives would be like, what the hell are you talking about, honey? No. I'm okay with it, okay? In fact, even earlier, let me see if I can find it. When he had reached out with the Force, yeah, here it is. How I really love that scene, how he was reaching out to the Force, with the Force and with his love to Padme. And it's like just touching him. And even though, pretty sure she is supposed to be asleep at this time, it's still, he connects with her and can sense her. I love you, Anakin. I am yours in life and in death. Wherever you go, whatever you do, we will always be one. Never doubt me, my love. I am yours. With a thought like that, it should be a little easier for him to recognize that Padme would be like, you did what to save my life? Man, you do not understand me. Okay? No, you do not kill them for my benefit. Because we're not even sure I'm going to die. There's still ways that might not happen. And you just killed all those people. I'm not okay with this. What is wrong with you? I mean, she would slap him for that. Anyhow, but the other, and this is something that's actually kind of funny, because, like, well, the Jedi should actually be okay with this, which was, Palpatine basically gave him a trick to control his emotions, which is fairly simple. Picture yourself on the top of a mountain, up in the clean, cold air, breathe that in, and just look at the emotions below you, like you're looking down on them, and examine them. He does that, and he gains control over them. It's like, that's actually legitimate. I don't think a Jedi would have a problem with that. In fact, I could even believe that the Jedi would teach him to do that. But apparently, they never did. So Palpatine has to do that. And that makes sense. Both of those make sense. It is a false choice between Padme and the Jedi. Is a false choice there. But it still is. Those make sense to turn him. Okay, so I'm happy. He's a little bit of an idiot with the false choice thing, but I can understand that. Then we get to this. Alright, on the mountain peak within himself, he weighed Padme's life against the Jedi Order. It was no contest. He said, yes. Yes to what, my boy? Yes, I want your knowledge. Good. I want your power. I want the power to stop death. That power only my master truly achieved, but together we will find it. If the Force is strong with you, my boy, you can do anything. I'm sorry, this I hate. I absolutely hate this. Because that power only my master truly achieved, but together we will find it. He shouldn't have even ended that sentence. At this point, Anakin should have had him not even against a wall, but against 3 walls down. Okay? That should be, no. He has leapt at him, has him by the throat, and they have careened through multiple, maybe even out of the building, and is holding him against the side of another, lightsaber ready, because, like, you lied to me? Because that's exactly what Palpatine has just admitted to. I have been lying to you this entire time. I cannot help you save Padme. We can figure it out. But I lied to you this entire time. The thing you just used as your basis to betray everyone. To betray everyone, including Padme, because she's not going to want this. He's not thinking that way. She's not going to want it. To betray everything. All that. And by that lie has betrayed Anakin as well. Anakin should full force power. This dude is a puddle next to him. Maybe not dead, but a puddle next to him. Because I need to... The fury, all of it, unleashed at Palpatine right then. That's why I hate this. Because that should be Anakin's reaction. Full fury at him. Which, to be fair, Palpatine, if not crushed into nothingness, would be able to talk his way out of it. Okay? Very likely would be able to. But Anakin should have been full fury. Okay? Just no limit to him right there because of that lie. That's why I hate this chapter. That is why. I know it's a single moment, but still, so much good stuff was. I'm good with this. You're doing good. You're doing good. But then we get to that, and it's like, nope. Just does not work. It does not work. Okay, and that would have been if I were offered this and say I'm working on this, I'm talking with I'll say George, because if I were working with George Lucas on something like this, obviously I'd be calling him George. He'd be like, George, I have this problem here because Anakin should be reacting by killing Palpatine here. It's like, no, but we need, we can't have that. I know, but the setup demands this, so we got to figure this out. I was like, we have to. There is no way. They need to fight here with Palpatine swaying him over, winning him over, because Anakin needs to kill him otherwise. I'm like, there is no way to escape this, George. I don't know what other answer there is. So, yeah, I mean, no. And that legitimately to me is enough, because that is... It doesn't make me hate the character of Anakin, but it does show he's not behaving consistently. And he hasn't been for a while. The whole... How Palpatine starts talking and he just believes everything Palpatine is saying, as opposed to even remembering what actually happened. The whole Palpatine told you to murder Dooku. The whole Obi-Wan told you what the Jedi Council's intentions actually are. And it's like, yeah. What's the next thing? Okay. No, that does actually get to the end. Putting that one point aside, though, the whole swaying of him to join, it is a lot better. It's Palpatine gives him reasons, gives him justifications to become evil. That they're poor justifications, yes, but they are there, and that is good. But as I said, it's Anakin's fury should have been there. Now, this last point is very technical, and let me be clear on something. It's not even larger what is being said here. That the larger stuff, higher level stuff, that's fine. It's the specifics of how it's written that annoy me. So this is Anakin has come to the temple, and is gonna. At first he appears to be alone, but then you see the clone troopers there. The night beyond the temple was full of clones, battalions of them, brigades. That was the end of one paragraph. Next single word paragraph, thousands. Now here's my problem, because it's like, okay, battalions and brigades, those actually are formal things, and they have sizes to them. I don't know what those sizes are, but I know that those are those do refer to specific sizes of groups of soldiers. So I actually looked it up. A battalion is 3 to 5 companies. What's that? Don't worry about it. And this is for the army, by the way. 100 to 1,000 soldiers. So already by saying battalions, you're potentially touching on thousands. But also says brigades, plural. A brigade, 3 to 5 battalions, typically 2 to 5,000 soldiers. So one brigade already is thousands. Okay, now this is why I dislike the whole battalions of them, brigades, thousands. the way it's separated out, this is just redundant. Battalions, brigades, that I'm okay with, because that's you're seeing battalions, and you're seeing it's even larger, like you're building up. But then thousands, how it's put there, that's redundant. That's redundant. You've already told me that. Okay? Now, if it were written a little differently, so it's not being redundant, it's being an explanation. Like thousands of them in their brigades, something like that, which kind of suggests that it is just part of the brigade. I'm not thinking of the better. I thought of a way to put it earlier, and I'm just blanking on it now. I'm just trying to think how I would necessarily write it, but it's also possible I wouldn't necessarily, but it is still, I would absolutely be writing it with the thousands, not as a separate. I mean, let me see if this will work. Might not. But we'll see. It might not be. Hey. Nope, over here. Might not be in focus, though. There it is. Thousands. So, yeah, the battalions of them, brigades, thousands. It's the whole putting it onto, there we go. Putting it onto that separate line, to me, I recognize that as being redundant. And I hate redundancy in stories. Especially for something like this, because it is a technical thing. It's not you're repeating something for emotional purposes. Because you've already established that. It's already established their size by just saying brigades. Okay, so yeah, it's thousands of them by the brigade, something like that, to just do it that way. So you're explaining that a brigade refers to it being thousands. And I really should just stop, because it is like such a weird point, but it is just one of those things to me that this is redundant because of this writing style. And it's just, it triggers me just enough, because it's one of those, I know well enough that these are specific sizes, I can look it up and I see that, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. This is being redundant there. You don't need to do that. You shouldn't do that, in my opinion. It would be like if I knew all of the lightsaber fighting styles, and so if they were to, back with the Dooku fight, mention these, and then start giving these over-elaborate explanations to them, and then have the whole, but none of that matters because they were just trying to mess with Dooku. Anyways, I would hate that as well. That's not a good example, but it still is just. Sorry, no, I'm blowing my fists. I'm not actually trying to crack my knuckles there. That was unnecessary emphasis. But yeah, I know it sounds weird, but it's just a little frustrating. I guess a way to put it would be, if you were going that something were kilometers away, miles away, thousands of feet. It's like, you already said that. That's what I'm being annoyed by here. It's like, yeah, especially when you think about it, because it's battalions, brigades, so you're going up in size, but then thousands is technically referring to single units. So you're actually going down in size. And I get, you're giving the detail, you're kind of giving the detail, but it still is the whole increasing in size, and now we're down to the smallest, just to say what these are. Instead of doing that, just say how large this is, describe how large it is, instead of doing that. That, I think, might be a better way of explaining why I find this frustrating. And because, yeah, that is true, it is going up in size, and then it's like, nope, we're going back to this. By the way, I'm feeling a lot better from yesterday. Maybe that's probably the reason why this video could go so long. Besides just having things to rant about. See you next time.